And we are recording. Welcome back, y'all. It's been a minute since I have filmed a YouTube video for you all, and I figured we've got a lot to talk about today because this is probably the biggest tea that I've ever spilled in my life. And the thing that I'm about to talk to you all about is something that is so personal and such a personal decision for me that I felt like I need to get on camera, I need to talk about this, I need to share with you all what is going on in my life. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm gonna try to do my makeup while we talk about this, and I also took copious amounts of notes because I wanna make sure that everything I share is accurate and that I get the message across for what I'm trying to explain. So, if you are watching this video, you already can tell that this is about getting a plus size tummy tuck. It's about getting plastic surgery as a plus size babe. And I think one of the things that I wanna say first and foremost is that I am very much so a person who believes in body autonomy. I believe in you being able to make decisions for yourself that make sense for you without letting other people pressure you into making you feel a certain way, feel inadequate, or feel like you don't deserve or aren't worthy of getting things done for yourself. So because I am a plus size influencer, I'm a person who talks about body positivity, who genuinely loves my body and loves the life that I live. It's such a challenging topic to talk about because there's so much pressure from external people, from your audience, from your following, from what people expect you to look like and expect your body to continue to look like. It can be a little bit challenging when you feel like you kind of have that pressure. For me, coming to the decision that I wanted to get a tummy tuck is something that I've been thinking about for a very long time. This isn't something that I just decided like on a whim, and I actually decided to do this because of medical reasons as well as aesthetic reasons. The medical reasons though are really the reason why I'm going this route in particular. Going back to 2018, December of 2018 in fact, I started getting really bad rashes, like heat rashes and blisters and pimples and just like really uncomfortable flare-ups underneath my stomach. So it would happen under my stomach, it would happen under my bra line, it would happen like where my like skin touches my waist, and it was constantly like this really uncomfortable feeling, inhibiting me from being able to do things for several days. These flare-ups were far and few in between. I would say like maybe they happened like once every few months, but they were enough for me to like be really frustrated. As time has gone on, this issue has only gotten worse. It does not matter how much weight I have gained or lost or gained and lost again over the years. I have always had a very big stomach and a stomach that the skin touches each other and it can cause irritation, rashing. I've gone to the doctor for it. I've been given prescriptions for it. I have tried baby powder. I've tried ointments. I've used the Monistat shaving cream. I've gotten prescriptions. And this issue with constantly having these rashes has just only continued to persist time and time again. And it's become more and more frustrating over time, where it makes exercising more challenging and it just makes my quality of life not as high as I would expect and want, especially if I have flare-ups that are back to back to back, where it's like this issue isn't being resolved. So in October of 2021, I decided that I wanted to schedule a consultation with a doctor for a plus size tummy tuck. And I'll get into talking about the difference between a plus size tummy tuck and a panniculectomy, however the hell you say that, I don't really know exactly, because there is a big difference between the two, and you can medically get a however the hell you say that, a panniculectomy. You can get that covered by insurance, but I will explain why that's the route that I have decided not to go in for several reasons. So anyways, October of 2021, I meet with Dr. REPTA, who is an incredible plus size tummy tuck surgeon. He specializes in working with people who are plus size, and I have known about him since I started having this issue in 2018. I've researched many, many doctors. I've looked into, all of the different routes and options that I could potentially take. And at the end of the day, he was the person that I was like, if I'm gonna have anybody do any kind of alteration to my body or do such a massive surgery, I want it to be the absolute best. So October of 2021, I have my consultation with him. It goes really, really well. I love what he says and what he talks about with my body and like how the process works and the procedure, and he answers all of my questions. And then I get the quote, and they email you the quote over like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days after you have your consultation. And in between that time of meeting with him and getting the consultation, I began to have like doubts of, is this something that I should do? Like, what's my following gonna think? I just didn't know if I was going to do it or not. So after you get your quote, they give you a year's time to decide whether or not you're gonna go through with the procedure. And when I tell you, I took 364 days to make the decision, I am not kidding. I took all of the time that I possibly could to make this decision for myself because I just wasn't sure if this was something that I wanted to do, if I really wanted to go through with it, if it made sense for me in the life that I live. And because, you know, being a plus size person, this body is such a big part of my identity. My stomach, my back fat, all of the things have been such a huge part of my life, part of my journey. And I've always loved and accepted myself no matter what my size. This is not about getting skinny for me. Like if I wanted to get skinny, I'd get a gastric bypass, which I don't, and I don't want to get a gastric bypass. And there is nothing wrong with anyone who decides that that is the journey for them, but it's not the journey for me. It's not what I personally want to do. I personally love being a big ass baddie. Like I love being fat and plus size. It doesn't inhibit me from living the life that I want to live. But what does inhibit me from living the life that I want to live is when I have these really bad flare-ups that are related to the excess skin in my stomach and in my back area. So I really believe 100% in body autonomy and doing what feels good for you and doing what feels right for you and your body and your life. We have one life to live on this planet, one life. And I don't want to spend it wasting time because I'm afraid of what somebody else thinks of me or someone else's opinion of what I should do or shouldn't do or who I should be or shouldn't be. I have to feel good with myself. I have to feel good with the decisions that I make for me. And at the end of the day, I think that's what matters most for anyone on this planet. So as I mentioned, I am not doing this for weight loss. I don't have to lose weight before the surgery. And in fact, because Dr. REPTA specializes in working with plus size people, he does not have a BMI requirement. Some plastic surgeons have a BMI requirement for how much you can weigh in order to get any type of plastic surgery. Others, like Dr. REPTA, do not, because in all honesty, the BMI is bullshit. It doesn't tell you the markers that are most important as to whether or not you qualify for surgery. It doesn't tell you anything about your blood pressure or your medical history or anything along those lines. It's not indicative of whether a surgery is safe for you or not. So you have to go through a whole panel screening with a doctor, with your primary care physician that's related to those things, not related to the BMI, in order to qualify for surgery with him. So I love that this is his philosophy. I love that this is his approach when it comes to working with plus size people, because you want to make sure that the client is still healthy and still able to recover in the most easiest way possible. So the BMI is not a factor in getting surgery with him. And I don't believe I mentioned this, but when you have your consultation with him, because he has a massive following, he's a really popular doctor. He is like the best of the best in terms of any type of plus size plastic surgeon that you can find in the industry. He does have a $250 deposit that you have to pay in order to schedule your consultation. And that deposit actually goes towards any procedure or surgery that you decide to get in the future. He wants you to really take things seriously, and it is something that you have to take seriously if you are deciding to schedule an appointment with him, because you know you're going to be out of $250 if you decide not to go through procedures or surgeries with him. So you really want to take that time to think about whether this is right for you and something that you really want to do. The consultation is $250. Again, there's no BMI requirement. And when you schedule the consultation, it takes typically about like 3 months to get in with him for a consultation, because he is a busy man. And he's so informative. And I would say, like, if you are new to this process and you're like, I just want to learn more, he has tons of YouTube videos. If you search on YouTube for plus size tummy tuck, he's gonna be the first person that comes up. He has amazing lives that he's recorded on Instagram as well, where he answers all of your questions and goes through everything in like very, very in-depth. The difference between scheduling a consultation and listening to all of the information is that the consultation is very specific to you. So you talk about what issues that you want to have addressed. You send in photos beforehand, just in your bra and your underwear, and so that he can get a sense of, okay, what needs to be done, how do I need to do this? And you can do a virtual consultation with him. Or if you're located in Arizona, which is where he is located, you can do a consultation in person at their offices. So I have this consultation, it goes super well. I love his vibe. I love how intellectual he is, and he's just so smart and so knowledgeable about so many things. And during that conversation, we talked about several different areas of what I wanted to potentially address. And then we also talked about like the difference between a panniculectomy and the difference between a tummy tuck. So if you get a panniculectomy, like I mentioned previously, that can potentially be covered by insurance if you have medical documentation, if you've gone to the doctor for this issue and it's proving to be like a chronic problem. But with a panniculectomy, all they do is they basically just cut the flap off and then they re-sew it together. So they don't do any like contouring. They don't actually make it look anatomically as aesthetically pleasing as you would with a tummy tuck. And the other big thing with a plus size tummy tuck in particular, and a tummy tuck in general, difference between a tummy tuck and a panniculectomy, is that most tummy tucks will also have muscle tightening included in that process along with liposuction. So for me, I most likely will not have to have any muscle tightening because I've never had children and I'm very, very active. And if your core is already really strong, you typically don't need muscle tightening with procedures. So that can be really nice in terms of not having to have the muscle tightening, because from everything that I've researched and read and studied, the muscle tightening is the most painful part of getting any type of tummy tuck procedure. Whether you just get a regular tummy tuck where they only cut the horizontal incision, or whether you get a tummy tuck where it's called a fleur-de-lis, so they cut across the stomach this way, and then if you have excess skin on this side, they'll cut in the middle and pull it together so that you kind of have more of a snatched waist. I do not need to have a fleur-de-lis tummy tuck. I just will be having the regular basic tummy tuck across your stomach. But whether you decide to do the fleur-de-lis or the regular way, it's going to be so much less painful if there's no muscle tightening associated with either of the style of procedures that you get. As I mentioned, I would qualify for a panniculectomy, but it is not the route that I want to go, because I want to go with someone who I know knows what they're doing, who is comfortable working with plus size people, who is an expert in the field. And I just don't want to go to some random doctor that I don't necessarily trust and feel like they're going to do the best job for me, like what I know Dr. REPTA will do. So during my actual consultation, we talked about 3 specific things. So there are 3 areas that I've had issues with over the course of the past 3 to 5 years. Obviously the largest issue is the tummy tuck, so that was number 1 priority for me. We talked about that, we addressed that. The second thing that I was most concerned about were my inner thighs, because I get the same issues there as well. I get irritation, rashes, I get blisters, pimples, like all of that happens. Not as frequently as I do under my stomach or my back, but I do have that as a problem. So we talked about that, getting the inner thighs potentially lipoed or figuring out a solution for that area. And ultimately he told me that you can't do a tummy tuck and a thigh procedure at the same time, because you don't want incisions that are competing with each other. So a horizontal incision and a vertical incision, where they're located, they're too close to each other and it causes too much friction and too much tension. And you also need different types of compression to heal those areas. So it's just really complicated. So he does not recommend combining those 2 procedures together, because it's just too complicated in the process of healing from it. So he's like, so if you want to come back in the future, I'm happy to address that problem at a later date, but it's not something that you can combine with this procedure in particular. So that was kind of off of the table. So the third thing that we talked about, the third problem area that I wanted to address in our conversation, was my back fat in particular. And I will show you all what my stomach and what my back looks like, just so you can kind of have a sense in a little bit. Once I finish my makeup, I will be happy to share. But he was like, that is something that we can do at the same time, and it's called a bra line back lift. And essentially what that does is they do both liposuction and then also get rid of all of the excess skin that's causing that issue of rashes and like flare-ups and things along those lines. So he's like, we can do both of those at the same time. And if you combine multiple procedures, they will kind of give you like a little bit of a discount. I think it's like 10% off of the second procedure that you choose to combine in the process. Okay, other questions that I had during the consultation that were not necessarily related to the specific kinds of procedures were, how long is the procedure gonna take? What's it gonna be like for recovery, anesthesia, drains, all of those types of things. So the tummy tuck procedure in particular takes about 3 to 3.5 hours. And then for the bra line back lift, that takes anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 hours. So I will likely be under anesthesia for about 6 hours total for both procedures. And then I'll have drains both in my stomach and in my back area. And the drains will most likely still be inside of me even after I leave Arizona, because I don't live in Arizona and I'm going to be flying back to my residency where I live once I am cleared to fly again. So typically you have to be there in Arizona for about 2 weeks. He recommends 10 to 14 days staying in the area while you are healing, because it's the most critical time, and you have to have several checkups with him in those first 2 weeks just to make sure that there's no issues, that there's no infections or things that are going on along those lines. And they do have a like sanctuary where you can stay the entire time if you choose. You are guaranteed, I believe it's 1 or 2 nights to stay in the sanctuary right after surgery, and then afterwards you can choose to extend your stay there, or you can choose to do an Airbnb nearby or things along those lines. My mom will be flying out with me for the procedure, which I'm super, super thankful for. Because she's gonna be coming with me, we're gonna be doing an Airbnb because it's just gonna be easier to have more space and like her to be able to cook food and just do all of the things that we need to do and still be close by to the doctors should something go wrong, which knock on wood that doesn't happen after the healing process happens. In the healing process in particular, he says it takes about 8 to 10 weeks before you can start to work out, and you're usually cleared for working, like full working out, after 10 weeks. I will say for me, I've had major surgery in this area before underneath my stomach, a very long horizontal stitch, because I have had a myomectomy, which we'll get into that in another conversation if you want to learn about what a myomectomy is and my reproductive health. That recovery was supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks, and I was walking after the first day. I was supposed to be in the hospital for 3 days, was walking after the first day, and within 2 weeks I was like completely back to normal. Obviously this surgery is much more intense, it's multiple areas. It could take me much longer to recover, but I'm assuming that like the first week I'm gonna be completely out of commission, and then hopefully by week 2 I'll be able to slowly start moving and walking, and then, you know, go home and then, you know, start to continue to heal through that process. So it is a long recovery, again, anywhere between 6 weeks to 10 weeks, just depending on your health, on your body, on how physically fit you are, and how quickly your body recovers from major surgeries. So it'll be long, but I think it will 100% be worth it in the long run. I think the thing that makes me the most nervous though about surgery is the fact that I'm gonna 100% have to rely on other people to help me, and that is something that I have a really hard time doing. I don't love asking for help. I never have. I find it really, really difficult, and I know that I'm gonna have to really rely on my mom for like at least a month to help me with the recovery process. And I'm so thankful for her, because every major surgery I've ever had, she has been there with me and taking care of me, and it's just been super helpful and amazing to have her. But it's still stressful because this is definitely gonna be the longest in terms of recovery. It's gonna be a little bit painful. I don't love pain meds. I've never really reacted well to them. So Tylenol, it's most likely gonna be for me. So I'm sure you're all dying to know, well, Katrina, how much does this surgery cost? It is not cheap. It's the cost of a very expensive luxury car. I am paying for it out of pocket. Like I said, this is not something that's covered by insurance, and it's something that I've been saving for, so I've kind of been preparing myself for this. So the cost of the tummy tuck on its own is $23,000 $800. And there's a bunch of separate fees on the quote sheet. So it's like the cost of both of the procedures, the cost of anesthesia, and then there's like, I think the cost of the sanctuary for the nights that you'll be staying there. So the cost, like I said, of the tummy tuck is $23,000, and the cost of the bra line back lift, $15,000. But because I'm doing multiple procedures and there's that 10% discount, I get a $1,500 credit because I'm doing 2 procedures at once. So the total cost for everything, procedures, rooms, anesthesia, is $47,440, which is pretty hefty. But I really, like I said, I believe that it's worth it. I would much rather put my money towards something that I know, I trust and believe in than go a route that I just don't think is gonna give me the results that I need. Would it give me some of the relief that I'm looking for? Yes. But would it ultimately make me feel better about myself? I don't know. So I would much rather just go with someone who I know, I trust, I believe in, I trust their work. I've seen so many results. I've watched him for years. I've researched so many different tummy tuck plastic surgeons. And let me tell you all, some of them do some really botched work, and I don't want that for myself. I don't want botched panniculectomy, and I don't want botched plastic surgery. So I personally, me, myself, and I am willing to pay that $50,000 price tag in order to get the procedures done in the way that I know is best for me. So fast forward a year later, after I had my consultation, I did decide to book it. And I booked my procedure literally one day before the expiration, because you get 1 year. And I decided to do that for myself. And I'm so excited that I've decided to make this choice for myself and for this next chapter that I'm about to enter. I feel so proud of myself, not only for making the decision for me and myself alone, but for being in a place where I'm financially stable and comfortable to be able to invest in myself this way, because it really is an investment in me and in my life and in my quality of life and how I feel. And I feel like I deserve to do this, and I think it doesn't matter who you are, what your size is. I think you deserve to do the things that are going to make you feel good in life. And this does not mean that I'm putting my life on pause or that I'm putting it on hold or that I'm not going to continue to do all of the things that I've already done if you guys have followed me for a long time. It just means that this is a part of my journey and it's a part of the process for me. And I am just so incredibly proud of myself for advocating for myself and for doing the things that I know that I need to make me feel better. And yeah, so I will be getting this surgery later in the year. I'm not gonna share the exact date of when I'm gonna get it, but you will all know more about that in the future. And if you have questions for me about the procedure or anything in particular, definitely leave them below. I'm happy to answer them for you all. And if you have comments or you want me to vlog like the actual experience when it gets to that point, I'm happy to do that as well, but you gotta let me know in the comments. I forgot one thing. I did promise that I would show you all what my stomach looks like and what my back fat looks like before this video ends. So let me show you all right now. So I tend to get the most flare-ups in my back area right here. This is, as you can see, there's quite a bit of scarring that's happened over the years on both sides. So this part in particular is where there tends to be a lot of like blisters, bruising, rashes, that sort of thing. And then as I come up even further, where that bra line is, this is the same issue there too, where I will get flare-ups, burning issues as well. Okay, moving on. And then this is what my stomach looks like. There's a lot of stomach and it hangs. So this is where I will get flare-ups, bruises, rashes, blisters, that sort of thing. Well, we've come to the end of this video, y'all. Makeup is done. The tea has been spilled, all of the information has been relayed, and I just want to say that I appreciate you all so much, whether you follow me here on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or wherever you have found me. This community that is here is so incredibly important to me. I wouldn't be able to be going on this journey if it wasn't for you all. I would not have the life that I have or the privileges and the opportunities that I have if it wasn't for all of you. I love you all so much. I appreciate you so much, and I will talk to you all soon.